To business owners, think having an online presence is important? Well, more than 90% of us take to search engines before making buying decisions.
Schrock's new Hero Blueprint podcasts were created to help businesses grow online.
From Schrock Innovations, Thor Schrock.
Hi, Thor.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, good to
Doing
see you
good,
again.
Doing good. So what is this Hero podcast?
All right, well basically we've got Schrock Innovations, and then Schrock Innovations used to just build websites. It was one of the services that we offered, just like new computers or repairs or stuff like that. The number of websites we ended up starting to do and the involvement from my staff, you know, what we realized was if you want to build a good website for a business, you can't come up and say, so, you know, what colors do you like? Do you have a digital copy of your logo? You know, what are you going to do for content? You want to write a blog? You know, that's so like 2001. I mean, so when we come in, we're like, okay, so what do you sell? How do you sell it? No, what's the sales model? And then what's your competitive advantage? How do you differentiate yourself from other places in the market? You'd be amazed how many business owners can't tell us.
Wow.
They do it, but they just do it intrinsically. They don't know. So when you're building a website for a company, these are all things you have to take into account. And then on top of that, the world in websites changes so fast. The stuff that we were giving for advice on the Morning Blend here last year is now outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, it moves that fast.
Yeah.
It does.
So how is a business owner who is trying to do their business supposed to keep up with everything else that's going on? You know, the plumbers are buying Yellow Page ads still. You know, so are the attorneys, by the way. But the trouble is, if you're 40 or under, when's the last time, I did a thing on my radio show, I said, when's the last time you opened a phone book? And so some guy calls in, some smart aleck calls in. I love my listeners, but this guy was a smart aleck. He calls in, he goes, I used a phone book this weekend. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, thanks for just blowing me out of the water there, okay. He goes, yeah, my granddaughter came over and she was doing a paste project and she couldn't sit high enough in the chair, so we stuck a phone book under her.
But it's a good point, though.
I haven't used a phone book in 10 years.
Yeah.
10
So I
years
mean,
probably.
and those ads are expensive. At one point, Schrock was spending almost $3,000 a month just on
Oh,
Yellow Page
gosh.
ads.
Do
And
you
then
guys do that anymore?
Not anymore. We pulled them all and we put it all into web
So
marketing.
this podcast, how does it help business owners? What's your goal with
Gotcha.
it?
The goal here is to do kind of like our radio show. We said with our radio shows, you know, we give people free advice. We help them for free on the air so we can build a relationship so when they want to do something that's really technical, that they can call us and they know they have someone they can trust to give them good advice because we've done it in the past. And especially when there was no interest to do it. I mean, there was no money exchanged. So the Hero podcast is designed for business owners. So I'm sorry everybody out there that is not a business owner, but this is designed for business owners to tell you how you can take your website to the next level. And we give you concrete tips in each podcast on specific individual things you can do with your website that are within your power as a non-web person to do that will improve your standing in the online community.
But I mean, I know you're talking, well, this is just for business owners, but a lot of people make things that they sell online, as if you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a retiree, and it's not a full-time gig, but you still want to have a platform for your wares.
Well, and actually I said business owners, but one of the jokes we made in the podcast is, you know, we're building a church website for a client right now. And in the podcast, we were joking, well, you know, we were talking about conversions, how you take your traffic and convert it into paying customers. And we're like, well, for a church, conversion doesn't happen until Judgment Day. You know, so I mean, you're saving souls, man.
Right.
You're not selling products here.
Oh,
so
sure.
their model is, honestly though, their model is completely different than what a business owner would want to
Yeah.
have.
Absolutely.
And so you
Get
have
it.
to recognize that. You can't build their website the same way you would build like an e-commerce website. It doesn't work.
Yeah, they definitely have different goals. How do you get the podcast? How do you get to where do you go to find it?
Sure. Well, we're putting them up everywhere. So you can find it at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. You can find it on SchrockInnovations.com. But the go-to place, this is just episode 1, so we're throwing it up everywhere so everybody gets hooked and they come back. But the eventual home for the podcast is going to be the Schrock Interactive website, which is SchrockInteractive.com, SCHROCK, SchrockInteractive.com. And we're going to do a podcast once a week. There's 4 people in the podcast. And we did some video with it, which we were kind of like, I don't know if we want to do the video because
There's audio
it's
only.
hard enough to set up an audio studio in a conference room, but
Yes.
then to set a video studio up too. So the video, let's grab some webcams so that people have something to look at.
Right.
And I noticed watching the video, I talk way too much. And you know, one of the other nice things is there's no FCC in a podcast. And so just a warning, I did let some language slip that I would not let slip on the Morning Blend or
You
on my
did.
radio
You
shows
did.
on KFAV
Thor.
and KFOR.
Oh
So
my.
if you want to see the pirate side of Thor, you can watch the
The
podcast.
dangerous side,
Danger
right?
side.
I like the idea of a free resource.
Yeah,
For
it's
business
amazing.
owners, right, you're spending a lot of money on a lot of stuff, and to be able to get some advice that doesn't cost you a dime, I think it's great.
And then I'm going to pitch an idea to you guys here that we had in a meeting. That It's
Okay.
something we're thinking about doing, but we need the perfect opportunity to do it.
You're
all right?
pitching it to us.
Pitching it to you
Yeah.
and all your viewers.
Great.
do it
What
right
is
now?
it?
If you have a business or you know of a business owner who is struggling right now, and we're looking for like a real struggling story, like the veteran that comes home that just can't get a business off the ground, or somebody who has a business and loses a spouse and is trying to hold everything together.
Yes.
Stories like that, really hard business stories where a website would make a difference to that person. Let us know. We want to do something, we're not going to call it this, we're like Extreme Makeover Website Edition, where we can take a website and literally build a free website for a client.
Wow.
And we want to film the process and do interviews as we do it to use in the podcast. But we really need to find that right customer. And typically people call us when they're ready to buy a website. They don't call us when they're ready to ask for a free website.
Right.
So yeah, you can watch the podcast so you know what you're getting
that's
into.
Wonderful. How do our viewers, if they want to make a recommendation, how do they get that to you?
Sure. The easiest way is going to be to email it to us, and all the contact information is in the podcast, but you can email it to thor@schrockinnovations.com.
I think that's a really great idea, especially as we talk about the power of a great website. It could make the difference between a business succeeding or becoming one of those failed businesses we hear about later.
We compared Mama's Pizza to Pudgy's Pizza. They're two websites, two great pizza places in Omaha that both make excellent pizza. Eaten at both of them, or I haven't eaten at Pudgy's, my staff has. I've eaten at Mama's before. And one had a really great, decent website, and the other one, not so much. So we compared their two websites too. So if you go to Mama's Pizza or Pudgy's, you want to watch the podcast.
Watch them, yeah.
And just see.
Schrock Innovations, 2 locations in the Omaha metro area.
I get
Village
that too.
Point,
We with our
Papillion,
eyes.
And in Lincoln as well. Excuse me,
get
I was
all
trying to
that.
talk about his
Right.
locations
I was
here.
thinking about pizza.
Yeah, well, think about it.
Both
Don't
very
talk about it.
valid thoughts, folks, okay?
Good to see you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Thor.
guys.